Hello.
What's up, Coach K? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Got a
Yeah.
new background and camera's looking really crisp.
Oh yeah. Thanks. This yeah. It's temporary.
You ain't gotta say anything. It looks good. It looks good. I like it. It's a cool vibe.
Thank you.
So it's been a minute. So welcome back, everybody. It's like I feel like I'm back. And then obviously Breaking the Cycle is back. How have you been, Dr. Nakumbe?
Stable, hanging in there. You know, it's winter time. We had snow. I mean, most of it's melted now, but the first snowfall, but it's here. Minnesota weather.
How much you get?
Oh, it's probably just less than an inch, but
still
just enough for people to drive. Like, and even me too. A couple of spots like, whoa, here's a little patch of ice. But
right.
So yeah, but enough to put the motorcycle away.
I was gonna say,
but there are some people up here that actually, you know, they get the nub tires and they actually ride in the snow. I can't do it, but yeah, there's some people up here riding in the snow. Two wheels.
That sounds scary.
Looks fun
because it's
from a distance.
Light. Oh. The distance is fun.
Like if it looks fun from a distance. Like
from a distance. Yeah, I'm like further. Like if you're going a long, road trip or something. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Most people think of the cold, but if you suit up, it's like snowmobiling. If you suit up, you'll be warm. And some of the bikes, you can plug in. You can have a suit and a warm suit that warms up. You just plug it into your battery thing. Yeah. So it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that's legit. That would be kind of toasty. Man, but yeah, this cold, it just hit us. That's a fact. Like it's like, oh, maybe I do need to now put my summer clothes away finally. Like Halloween was super cold.
Oh yeah, you went out. Did you have snow?
We didn't. We did have some flurries, but no, we didn't. My niece trick-or-treated, but we passed out candy and stuff, but I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome in everyone. This is Breaking the Cycle with Dr. Nakumbe and Coach K. And let's see who we got in so far. We have Julian. He says first, right?
Yes.
You got it. You're the first. And then we have my sweet friend, my hilarious friend, Dragonfly Joe's cousin. He says he's on the road, but he'll catch in with us when he gets in or catch up with us. And then, of course, we have Black David in the back. Thank you, Black David, for being here with us. This is the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Please like the video on your way in, or if you're catching the replay, and subscribe. Share with friends. There's so much content on this channel for everyone, but tonight on Thursdays we have a show that's very constructive. We talk about mental health, mental well-being, I would say emotional well-being, emotional health. Dr. Nakumbe offers a clinical perspective, but he's also a coach. And I offer a coaching perspective. And this is a what do you always say? It's not a you always say prescription.
We're not
How do you always say it?
we're not diagnosing. Um, we're not prescribing. We're just what?
I know you always say it. It's good, but I
uh,
can't remember it.
yeah, we're not diagnosing or prescribing. We're just giving some. I have to think of my quote, but
Yeah, I know. I'm about to
yeah,
find it.
we're not
But
diagnosing and we're not doing therapy. Although some of the conversations may feel therapeutic.
right.
Like wow, it made me think. I got something from it, but we're not diagnosing. We're just describing. So we're not prescribing. We're just describing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So shout out to everyone. So tonight with our topic being a continuation of a couple weeks ago about building resilient relationships. And unfortunately I wasn't here, but they still had a great um and the reason that I thought about this is I actually saw an article. It just shows up on my algorithm on Google. It's like I got a great algorithm. But and anytime I see something about resilience, I love it because that's what I think about resilience. I'm going to bring up the definition. Is it's empowering because it's including in the definition basically, or in the way to explain it, is hardship and like just challenges, but overcoming those. And it's like getting through it. It gives me a good feeling, whenever I think about anything being resilient or resilience. What do you think, Dr. Nakumbe?
That brand Rubbermaid, I don't know. I think that's everyone should know about Rubbermaid.
Yeah.
So they make the plastic or the rubber or the heavy garbage cans, the utility plastic. But if you dent one of those, if you push a dent in, their whole thing about how they're resilient, they'll always bounce back to its form. So no matter what the dent is, I think of resilience as the ability to bounce back. It does not mean that you'll get back to original form. See, that plastic can pop back out, or that rubber, whatever's made, Rubbermaid, pop back out. Doesn't mean it won't be a scratch on there, but we can always bounce back. And as one of my coaches taught me, resiliency is about having a setback, which is really a setup for a major comeback. So I was like, that's resilience.
I like that, and I like you mentioning the Rubbermaid. And also, I think what's important, especially in terms of resilience, is talking about relationships, because no matter what is resilient, life is going to bring challenges. It's going to have struggles. They are inevitable. And, oftentimes, and I'm going to be referencing a lot of just the common narratives, I guess, you hear on the internet or even amongst your friends and family when it comes to relationships. And it's almost as if things have to be perfect in a way, or compatibility. I don't like that word. I don't like that word because sometimes it seems like when couples go through something and they don't we're not talking about serious like issues here. I'm talking about just regular normal disagreements, and it can also be your spouse or significant other is dealing with something. So it's not happening in the house. It's happening outside, and it's affecting your partner, or whoever, or even you. And so I'm talking about those everyday things that are going to happen, that what I would classify as normal. And just because those things cause some type of periodic hardship between you two does not mean you're not compatible. What do you think about the use of the word compatibility or being compatible when it comes to things like just adversity within a relationship?
A great question. I see we have some more people in this one to give a shout out to.
Yeah.
Mr. He said, Mr. He says in the house. Welcome.
Hey, Mr.
Thank you
He
for being here with
said.
us. Always an honor and pleasure to be here with you in this
Yeah.
space. Coach K, I have this weird. It's not weird. Not everyone sees it the same. That's the unique thing of having different perspectives.
Yes.
So when it comes to
Let's
the
go.
word challenges, I think the only thing that's a challenge is how we make it a challenge in our mind. Meaning,
Correct.
we have things that we have to deal with in order to live life. To have the conveniences and human creature comforts, we have to sacrifice to do whatever. So I have to work so hard to get is a challenge. The challenge is for you to maintain or sustain the creature comfort if you make it a challenge. In relationships, and I forget what show it was, we were talking about there was a young lady in an accident, a car accident. She was en route to go see her lover. Her husband didn't know it. She was in an accident and then ended up being in the wheelchair for life, paralyzed. The big question was, do you continue to take, the husband, and I'm not remembering exactly, but there's something about the husband found out that she was cheating. She was going outside the relationship. And in fact, the day of the accident, she was en route to see the other person.
Yeah, I remember that.
The debate is, do you continue to take care of your wife? And my answer was this, people were caught up in, well, she was cheating, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but by the time the husband heard about it, I think the accident itself should have been the only real surprise. What? She was cheating. That's a surprise. If you know your partner,
right?
If you know your partner's potential, if you know your partner's needs, desires, meaning if I go into a relationship knowing my partner has strong needs for intimacy, like her intimacy tank needs to be filled and filled and filled, I have to wonder, and we have the conversation, am I actually enough? So when it comes to resiliency, relationships, challenges, I think if you have enough conversation, and sometimes people don't have the right conversation or they don't ask the right questions, fair.
Right.
But if you have the right dialogue, I think it minimizes the amount of times that you have to actually have what's called a challenge in the sense of you and I together. As a team, we might have some challenges to get over, life obstacles, hoops to jump through, job stuff. Things shift and they're fluid in life and relationships. But I think if you know you well enough, if you know your partner well enough, or you grow enough together, I think it will minimize the amount of time that you have certain types of challenges, in my opinion.
I think you're spot on. This reminds me of when I used to work in a restaurant as a server. I had this, this is actually common sense, I think, but it was something that I would say to people that I trained and just to my coworkers, like we should, in a perfect world, but we should be running effectively, just doing your job, following the rules and just the standards and what is it? Operating procedures or right or something like that. Gosh. But anyway, we should be doing that. Like there's gonna be bumps in the day, but those bumps should be from customers or from customers like giving us problems or having problems. We should not be having problems that we inflict on ourselves if we can help it, And I kind of look at that the same way as in a relationship. Now, of course, there's two people in a restaurant too. There's many different people, and there's lots of variables. But in a relationship, you two have each other. And oftentimes it's like we forget, you know, you like this person, right? Or you love this person. Um, you know, it's like talking about any type of relationship dynamic. It's like we're talking, and even if it's hypothetical, it's like, wouldn't we assume that we love this person or that we want to be with this person when we're talking about, you know, working through things?
We will hope
But
so.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, why
Yeah.
do we always go to examples as if we don't like this person? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but we might not like them.
Oh,
I
ooh,
mean,
maybe.
I can
Ooh.
love you and not like you, and I can like you and not love you.
Oh,
But here's why I
there's
say
that.
that. And shout out to Lost in Translations in the house. Always an honor to share this
Hey,
space with you. What's up, Lost in Translation?
thanks for being here.
Um, Here's what I mean by that. And please, by no means am I talking like out the gate with this type of thinking. So I want to keep it realistic. I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. I'm not pretending to talk next level stuff and like some of the stuff sounds magical and mystery. Like I want to keep it real. We're
Right.
talking years of personal experience and we're talking years of professional experience. We're talking age, where it's just some things I just don't deal with anymore. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where this is coming from. When I talk about like and love, I challenge where we first learn love. And a lot of people
Mm,
forget the brain, it builds upon when you would say a person has wisdom,
mm,
we usually say older people have wisdom. Why is it older people? Because they grow and learn. They start at a base and they learn. So, our first episode of love is like getting a job and working it for 10 years. The job description might change a little bit, but at the core, it's the same job. So, at the core of love, based on your first love, not romantic, your first attachment,
mm-hmm.
was it a secure attachment? Was it a neglectful attachment? If
Mm-hmm.
your mother is your primary nurturer, your father is your primary security. If that's the case, if you receive betrayal, if you feel an ounce of betrayal, an ounce, I'm talking about even through a healthy connection. I'm working, taking care of the family, but when I leave for work and there's a thunderstorm and you become
Mm-hmm.
afraid, that rattles your safety, your perception of safety. Where's my
Mm-hmm.
father?
Right.
When you grow on that pillar,
Right.
you grow. It could be 10 years later, 15, 20 years later. And if you deal with betrayal, anytime you deal with betrayal, that's going to is going to do something to you. So it's not about who I was dating last week, last month, last year, that one divorce, that one breakup, or that one forever Mr. or Mrs. If you calculate when the initial problem happened, it happened even before you ever had a relationship. Ever. If you think about it, coach, and those listening, if I have trust issues, how did I know I had trust issues? Was it just now from this person? Was it just because the last relationship the person cheated on me? Where did it come from? So if you go off my analogy, then your first love, we come out the womb being told, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then eventually we return the words, I love you too.
Right.
And we've just been saying it ever since. And then it came
Right.
with conditions. And no shade to any parents, no shade to any parents, but caretakers start putting conditions on it. Hey, is that what we're doing now? 3-year-old, 4-year-old, we're going to bed without saying I love you? Is that what we're doing now? So now I'm conditioned that we don't go to bed without saying I love you. I'm conditioned, you say I love you first. It sounds cute in junior high and high school. You didn't even tell me you love, because you didn't say you love me. No, I love you. Then who's going? You didn't say it first. Where did that come from? Where did it come from? Where did gift giving and the words attached is because I love you? And now 20 years later, or a person can grow 20 years later, if you truly love me, you would put a ring on it. Is that if you truly love me, or if you truly want to secure our union and grow and build something? Does the ring represent I love you, or is it because I want to secure this is our union, the representation of blah, 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 blah?
Right.
Sometimes we get a whooping or a spanking, it's because I love you.
Right.
And I can grow up 20, 30 years later, be in a domestic situation and explaining, I only took the shit out of you because I love you. You need someone to grab you and hold you because you get wild.
Right.
Well, where did that belief come from? So anyway, I won't go on, but my point is,
that's good.
If you look at expectations, which is the fastest way to disappointment, and you look at what your version of love is, does it actually match your partner? And it doesn't have to. It does not have. And will it? If you grew up in a quiet home and I grew up in a loud home, or vice versa, it might not at all match. And in fact, when it does, I say you still have to be careful. Are we trauma bonding? Are we I forgot when you bomb someone with love, love bombing them.
Love bombing.
You love bomb each other, and we love bomb each other, but so I say expect some type of not equal, I want to say conflict, but there's positive conflict too. Expect some type of difference with your partner, but it doesn't mean you can't grow together, if that makes sense. From my opinion, that's how I say it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I want to ask you, what would you say are some of these things are going to be, I guess, learned with time. And shout out to Crystal Light in the chat.
Crystal
Thanks for
Light's
being
in
here.
the house. Thank you for being here. Hello.
Yes. But let's say we've been with this person, we're still dating, and obviously I'm going to qualify this. Everyone's going to be different, but let's say we're dating, we haven't said the L word yet. What are some good questions, or I guess directions for having that conversation, would you say, that these two people can have to kind of identify or uncover for each other? Because there's a chance that both of them don't even know their own love, like their experience with love, how that occurred. For example, with if they had whoopings, and they connect that with love. So what are some questions would you say for couples to approach this topic in a constructive way?
Mm-hmm. If they're looking at marriage, then we're looking to see if we're equally yoked. So the questions are really around finances, security, mental health, family history. If we're talking about equally yoked, to be able to bond, to be together, how do we worship? Do we worship the same? Spirituality, religion, what are the big not items, but what was significance? What's significant to you and in your partner? We don't always like to be questioned. So if I date someone who's secret, quiet, humble, maybe not even humble, but I mean like they live like that man and woman in the caves, very secret. They don't really want a lot of questions.
Yeah, they don't open up.
And so it's not only the amount of questions, it's actually the type of question. And if you're tapping into my vulnerability, I can't guarantee some can't guarantee they'll do it. I met a couple one time, and they told me how they met. I said, "How did you two meet?" I don't mean to laugh, but I said, "How did you two meet?" And they told me that she started out right away with like a astrology thing. What's your date of birth? What's your birth sign? How much did you weigh? What hour was the ocean? Where was the moon? And I was like, oh, and all this did. I was the first. I needed to know. I've got to know. Like, oh, that's how you guys started. Yeah, I
Did it
want to tell them.
align?
Yeah, or to make sure it aligned, and they were doing these maps, and it's like, wow. Now to each their own. But that's an
Right.
example of that person was asking questions,
Right.
but pending the receiver, what are they giving back? So I say some generic questions will be based on really the type of relationship you want to have, such as if we plan on having sexual activity, it might be important to know not your body count, but are you safe? Not your body count, but what changes for us once we have it. Those fancy statements some people make. Once I get it, I own it. You know what I'm talking about? You probably don't know,
Yep.
but I'm saying, but the fancy riddles and things we say. Once I taste it, once I
Yep.
touch it, it's mine.
If they don't
So
say it
okay,
explicitly, they're implicitly like
right.
behaving that
Some
way. Yeah.
some say it boldly, like
Right. Right.
but I mean, is that fantasy talk, reality talk? For some people, it is. I want you to know I'm the type that if we go there, if we cross fluids, that means something different to me. And then the word own might not, some people say own, some people say I consider that to be that's what brings us together. We go to church together. That you meet my parents. I bring you over to meet my parents. That changes. So I say, what things of significance? And it doesn't have to be all in the first night, because we're in a fast-paced world where things need to. I must know. I have to know. But
Right.
I say pace it, because go with the seasons. Go with the
Right.
seasons. Now there's 4 seasons as far as weather. So some
Right.
people may not want to wait the full seasons, but have you seen how they grieve? Have you seen how they fight? Have you seen how they argue? Have you seen how they love? Have you seen how they communicate? Hink from the basement says, if he's at a restaurant and she starts cutting up, right? So see what the restaurant experience is like.
Right.
Can you actually cuddle without having sex? Do you have to insert? I mean, can you just hold? And what's the conversation like? Depending what you desire for intellect, are they able to have intellectual conversations? What's the attention span? Now, a lot of couples are on their phones, so we could be in the same space and breathe. We say something nice, like as long as we're breathing the same air, as long as we're in the same room. Heck, I might even be right across from you and texting you. How you doing over
Right.
there? Right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
we agree that this is our form of communication.
Right. It works.
If it's one and the other is
Right.
so, and to me, those would be one of the conversations. What is your communication style? What do you prefer? We got a lot into texting. What if you want to text? They want to hear your voice. And the last thing I would say, not ageism as in the gap in age, but consider the time, what was going on for that generation. So if I'm 40 dating a 30-year-old, if I'm heck, whatever that fine line is, if I'm 40 dating a 30, whatever that gap is in generational stuff,
Yeah.
learn those generational, and that's the conversations I'm having. We didn't do that when I was growing up. Really, man, now we know this is a situation, an area in life. Are you willing to adjust? So looking at how capable, not just willing, for some cheeks, I might be willing to do a lot, but am I capable of sustaining what it is that I offered or said that I can do or will do?
Let's rewind. Break that down again. Just, I think for the audience, willing versus capable. That was good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm trying to think of a scenario. Sometimes in the beginning, we do some things that are impressionable. Okay, so I was
To
just
get
talking
the
to
person, maybe.
right. Well, to show my kindness, to show my
Mm,
interest. But back in the day, they called it courting.
right.
Even that, different levels of courting. Some cultures, when they court, they don't even court you. They go to your parents,
Right.
but they show their worthiness. If it's a farm, you might exchange a cow or a goat, right? Depending what the
Right.
cultural practice is. If it's something of needing to know that you are financially stable, so it just depends on what it is that you want to present as kind of that courting, putting that honey out there. So with that said, there might be some things in the beginning, and I want to be clear because in the beginning, the person might be truly committed to those things, but then they become lazy.
Or
Okay,
complacent,
or
right?
complacent, right? So I'm not talking about that type of beginning. I'm talking about in the beginning where there's a whole different set of rules and behaviors that necessarily wouldn't apply once we're committed.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, there are rules and behaviors that don't apply once. This sounds silly, but I ask my couples when I'm talking to the couples about what were your beginning behaviors and rules. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, like when you get a brand new car, no one can fart in it
Right.
until you know what I'm talking about. Have you
Mm-hmm.
okay, so but
I
like
know.
when we get
Yep.
yeah, someone you can't eat. I have to be you can't spit your new car. Then once it becomes used or worked in, then we can do certain things. Or if you buy a
Mm-hmm.
used car, it doesn't the rules change. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm willing to do I actually have the ability to sustain it? I might do something cute, like come over in a snowstorm or snowfall and bring you the Popeye's chicken, the red strawberry Fanta drink. I might bring that to you. And you're like, oh my gosh, because you didn't want to go outside. That was cute. I traveled 10 miles to the Popeyes. I got the thing. That's cute. But, you know, a year into it, you better get a sled. You better find it right.
Right.
Things change.
Right.
Um, it's
Right.
cute to share the same. You see in those movies where it's cute where we had the same straw, just
Right.
or two straws in the same.
Yeah.
The Dalmatians where they share the same spaghetti
Yeah.
noodle. That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But after a while, is
Right.
put your saliva and shit on. Can't you get your own? So
Right. Right.
was
Right.
willing the first time. There you go. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right.
and then I know they think I won't drink after them. I'm gonna prove it. See? But am I capable, physically capable? Sure. But really, my personality, my resistance, my true thoughts of bacteria and like
Mm-hmm.
and germs. When
Mm-hmm.
that kicks in, I'm no longer capable of accepting this behavior. Of accepting. I was willing at the beginning, but that willing was an unknown to you, unspoken, silent agreement. It won't be that bad this time. She's fine as hell. She probably don't have no bacteria.
Right. Right. We are definitely not thinking about
It
it
was a
then.
unknown, unspoken agreement. We could do it this time. She become your woman. She can get her own shit. So capable, I think is different than willing. Willing might not be the same as capable. Babe, I'm trying. I am seriously trying. Well, you got to do more than try. But there might be some other things going on where I'm not as capable, and that can either help build the partnership. What you can't do, not won't. There's a difference between can't and won't. What you're unable to do, but I know you have the You have the try, the effort there, the energy. You would if you could. And if I can, I've got you. I've got you. And that's why I say you can have an imbalance in the relationship.
Mhm.
It may not feel the healthiest and blah 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 blah, but I think you can have an imbalance if you can help, if you tolerate, and if you have the capacity to tolerate. So again, willing and capable. And sometimes we talk all that good stuff at the beginning. Just so you know, I'm a little on the crazy side. I get jealous. I'll cut up all your shit, and I'll cut. Oh, girl, quit playing. Ha ha ha. First of all,
Mhm.
I'm not even like that. You have me confused. But when I think about it, if I would have really listened, I was thinking you meant you get crazy if I cheat on you. But I didn't understand your version of cheating. So when I'm out with the fellas, and you're like, I told you I'm crazy. What are you doing here at the club? What, for real? So you came to my job. So you came, I told you I was crazy. I'm not doing anything. But where the miscommunication was, I'm capable of spending time with you, like good quality time without it being whatever. I'm willing to spend time with you. But what that person meant when they said I get crazy and jealous, I didn't know they were talking about time. I didn't know they were talking
Mm.
about shared energy. I didn't know that they meant when if you stay away too long, I start to. But when I hear it that way, that's a totally different definition. And I start thinking that's suffocation. That's a feeling of trapped.
Right.
No, you go. I can't. Oh, here we go. At first, I said I'm not gonna give you a reason to be jealous and crazy. I've got you. But when you now explain that, I mean, I consider you laughing while you're on one of your social medias. I consider you laughing because the thing was. I consider you putting heart shapes like the heart emojis on the. Really, I'm not. I consider your time away. So when I start putting all those things together, understanding what you meant, yeah, that's not going. But how far into the relationship am I?
Right.
And so now I'm saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, I don't know if I can do all that." I mean, you want a lot. I told you this from the beginning. Same way that was kind of long winded. I hope that made sense.
No, that makes, and I think that's so real too. Like it does look like that. And you can't plan for all those things right away. I do think it is important to, you know, be be present, be with that person and take your time. In the sense of obviously there's red flags, like no, but some people they want to know things. It's like just a balance between getting to know them as things, develop, but also asking, the necessary questions. Um, but one of the things that I think keeps people from maybe building this resilience is when things occur. And let's say, for example, I was meeting with someone that we do Bible study together, and she's been married for a long time. And her husband has just right now, temporarily, just a lot of stress and family changes, and and then on top of work and things like that. And she said he's been kind of grumpy and grumpy towards her. But right after that, she said, "Yeah, but I know it's not has nothing to do with me. So I'm just letting him, do whatever." Which to me, again, in this space, it's letting. She's basically not making a fuss about it. She's not having an issue with it. So it's like sometimes our spouse or whoever goes through things and they may take it out on us a little bit.
Mhm.
Not in the way where they're hollering and stuff, but maybe they're not the happiest mood, or maybe they're not joking and stuff or whatever. But can you set your can you not personalize that and make it about you in that moment and understand where your person is coming from and what they're dealing with. Like, can you stop making it all about you in that moment? You know, things like that. If they're going through something, or even if they're stressed or tired, and it's like, yeah, I don't care. You know, don't come at me that way. You don't have to take it out on me. But it's like, I don't know. I just hear things like that, and I've been guilty of it myself. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that when we can acknowledge that they're going through something, it's not about you, I can give him that space and be there when he needs me and not create more disconnect when I'm
Mm-hmm.
already feeling like he's on one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
It does. And there's a catch-22.
Tell me. Let's talk.
Yeah. Let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Reckless Ray is in the building. Thank you for swinging
Hey,
through. Always an honor to share this space with you. Sir Hale is in the building. Sir, what's
hey,
up?
Sir
What's up? What's
Hale.
up? Always an honor to share in the space with you. Welcome. Thank you for swinging through, folks. Coach
Yeah,
K, here's the dilemma.
we got Quincy real quick and
Oh,
Quiet Storm.
my bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Quincy, welcome. Thank you for being here. Always an honor. And the Quiet Storm. Don't leave off the.
Oh, yeah, my
The
bad. The Quiet Storm.
Quiet Storm. Yes. Welcome. Thank you for swinging through. Coach K, here's the dilemma.
Yeah.
And Uncle, what's his name? Uncle Ricky Williams,
Oh, yeah.
was just on a couple of days ago. And he described a relationship like modern day.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was in my back pocket. I thought the dude was in my DMs, man. He named it to a T. He said the women are, and I can't even quote him. It was so significant, but let me kind of read. I want to say firstly, I think he was right. He was spot on from the couples I work with, and even my own personal experience. When I hear a woman say, "Why do all the dudes think I'm lesbian or bisexual?"
Oh, interesting.
Okay, I'm with him, so why do they think I'm lesbian or bisexual? Why do they think that I'm on something? Why can't they do for me? Why can't they do for me? And unknowingly, you want to talk about narcissistic. Unknowingly, it is about them, about them, about them. I mean, I'm talking about totally blind to the fact that when we sit down and, you know, to talk about something cute and romantic, I take out the straw and I boom for you. And then if we go out 10 times and I just kind of watch, now, of course, I'm not talking about expectations. I'm talking about just seeing. And never once do they think to do that in return or anything. Like everything is just boom. So this modern thing that Ricky was talking about was spot on with how the women are acting some kind of way. Now, how that relates to your question. How could I not personalize that? How could I not see you as selfish? How could I not
that
see you
person.
as, that person, those behaviors? How could I not see those behaviors as selfish? You say, well, but you know, that's how they are. But is that what I signed up for? Is that what I signed up for? Because we don't always see all of these behaviors right at the beginning.
Right.
So then I start to wonder, and then if I express to you my desires, wants, and needs, and you continue with your behavior, then at some point I have to wonder if it's intentional. And if it's intentional, I consider that to be intentional disrespect.
I
Now,
agree.
if you say I can't, remember capable, I'm not, I can't do it the way you want it. And sometimes emotions get in the way, sex gets in the way, these other things where we know we're not really, it's not going to work. That's when we start to build up what they call that toxic type relationship, where we know we have these issues that are going to cause challenges, undue stress, unnecessary stress, BS in the relationship, but we continue not with the hopes of let's get better, just continue to do it. You might have one person who says, you know, you need me. This is the type of relationship you like. You're built for it. you know you crazy anyway. You're always used to crazy people. You might have one who says it's okay, God is going to find a way, or whatever the case may
Hmm.
be. And so at some point,
Platitudes.
yeah, at some point I do have to wonder what's going on, and I start to personalize it. Now the flip side of that,
Yeah.
if I know my partner or get to know them, that's why I
Hmm.
say, you know, and again, I'm not talking from some innocent and I started this way. I caused havoc in many. I messed up many relationships, many. And not to be cliche about it, but I didn't know what I didn't know.
Same.
Right.
Same.
And now I do know and I still fuck it up.
Right.
I
Right.
do know, but if I get to really know my partner,
Yeah.
then do I have to personalize it? Do I have to personalize it? And if I do I have to address it in the moment? You snapped off on me, da, 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 but I know my partner has short capacity, short tolerance, little this, doesn't like that. We go to a restaurant. What the? Why did you bring us this nasty? Hey, relax. No, but I have to remember, rooted deep inside of my woman, she doesn't like to feel disrespected.
Hmm.
So instead of me personalizing, like, why are you talking so loud? What's going on? Why are you? Well, what if I addressed her concern? Babe, you're right.
Hmm.
Hold on for a second. Let me, because you know you're gonna get worked up. Instead of
Yeah.
me thinking, you trying to embarrass me, you're acting stupid, why are you doing this?
Right.
If I know, and that is my responsibility, you can't control my feelings. I mean, you
Right.
made me, you made, no, they didn't make you. A person can't control you. They might influence you. They
Right.
might influence you, but they can't make you. So if you have the capacity, if you have the tolerance, if you have the awareness, then I can adjust. And then we talk about it sometimes, not in the moment. You can't really repair those things in the moment. It's later when we're talking, if we have a
Right.
family meeting a week or we're playing and giggling and laughing. I said, babe, you know, the other day, I know, I don't mean to do that to you. I know. But you've been doing it for 4 years. You know, when I mean, are you interested in changing it? Because some things, it's me. If you love me, you accept me, and that's part of it. And some say it's me and I have to work on it. But
Right. Big
right,
difference.
right. And some people break up and they say, I'm not going to be with anyone because I have to work on some things. But I wonder what the work is because I see him at the movie theater. I see him getting the nail. You know, I never see them. I said, who's your therapist? No, okay, you're working on some things without doing the work. Got it. So I need a
Right.
break. Ooh, I need to woosah. I need to get myself together. I just need to get me and get me. I'm gonna wait for God to send me. No worries. And I'm not here against the God plan. It just depends on who you talk to. Some say your plan was actually given to you. Now you need to go execute. So if you're that type of believer, then you'll be waiting a long time for God to send you the person you think they're going to send you because you've already been given the plan. Then
Right.
vice versa. If you are a believer that God will give you, then I wonder if you are ready to receive what God is going to
Mm.
give you because it might be how God sees it and not necessarily how you see it. And
That's a good
yeah, so
point.
then, now that's a whole different thing where you need to figure out how to adjust to doing it God's way, if that's your route, or understanding this is what God's principles are, this is what the God's rules are, and now how can I do or find or gather or connect with who and what I want, but yet we follow the rules, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. That was good. That I just thought of something. Of course, I lost it, so maybe I'll remember it. Um, but because we were talking about when someone shows you like personalizing it, and I'm with you. Like when someone says because there are so many pieces in there that you touched on that are so good, and I hear people say it like, "Oh, this is just me." Well, first, I'm gonna push back on that, but let's say it's right. Okay. what are the outcomes? You know, if this is what I was going to say. If you're, because when you were talking about approaching the conversation like in the restaurant, or how we approach the situation, it gave me the impression of you're approaching it together, not like you're a problem right now, like you're causing a problem that you need to fix, instead of, okay, coming from a place of understanding or knowing your partner and kind of, and if you're not talking about it now, totally fine, because obviously it's not helpful. I imagine trying to fix your swing or your shot in the middle of a season. You're not going to do that. You have too much muscle memory, you know? Plus, things are going to get heated if you're trying to approach everything while things are already, bad. But when you're approaching any type of conflict or something that's been reoccurring, approaching it together as a we, because I think that helps facilitate more of the possibility of feeling heard and understood when it, and this is something that's going to be intangible. I mean, it's going to come through the way that you communicate, the way that you show up. But I'm saying that I think, even for me, that I would imagine feeling more receptive and more like this person is with me. We're doing this together versus I'm the problem and I have to fix it because they have an issue with me. What do you think?
Well, now remember though, this is bear with me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a situation. I want to go back to really what Ricky was talking about, this type of relationship.
Yeah.
If you think about two people being together, more than just you, are you rooted the same? So brain chemistry, and I won't use too many big words. I don't even like big words myself, but here's an example. At the root, pending how you learn something, like that initial love, that initial wiring of the brain. I want you to imagine like we're braiding hair, and you're braiding hair, and you're wiring and soldering, like locking. So if your first relationship, let's say a mother, single mother, or father, single father, or even two parents, it doesn't matter, a whole village, based on what you receive is when, as far as attachment, how you feel connected, rooted, a sense of belonging. That's one thing to consider. If it's tampered with, mom and dad get sick, so they send you over to the grandparents, which is a good thing. But that's a form of betrayal when I'm being separated from my primary parents, unannounced to anyone. That is a form of betrayal. I am breaking away. You ever see a kid go to daycare and just have a fit?
Yes.
You ever see a parent waving goodbye to kids on the school bus and they seem to have a harder time than the kid? Based on that attachment, when that attachment breaks, when that kid has to go to school, when that kid has to go to daycare, when the dog or cat whines all day when you go to work, that's a form of betrayal.
Right.
Unannounced to anyone.
Right.
It is a schema locked in the subconscious brain. You abandoned me today. You neglected me today. Let me sit out on the doorstep waiting for you to pick me up. And you said 3 p.m. and it's now 5 p.m. For those 2 hours, fear kicked in, rattled my perception of safety, Now, after a while, I kind of know so-and-so parent is always late, but it only takes a nanosecond for me to lock in this feeling of betrayal. However,
Mm-hmm.
it also happens to be from a parent who's taking care of me, who's feeding me, who's giving me gifts and love and kindness. And I form this intertwine between the person who I feel betrayed by and the person who loves me and takes care of me. And I grow on this pillar. I
Mm-hmm.
grow with accepting the and accepting the, and now I can date someone outside of me could say, ooh, you couldn't do better. That person is crazy. That person abuses you. That person doesn't even spend that much time with you. Uh-huh. This is what I know.
Right. Normal.
So to me, this is a healthy relationship.
Right.
It may not be, but this is what I've been hardwired to believe. So when someone else says, oh, those are red flags, what might be a red flag to you is a green flag for me because every behavior has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You heard those expressions, fight and break up just to
Mm-hmm.
make up.
Yep.
So for the person who just wants to be held, they tolerated some BS, but at the end of the argument, the fight, there's some love making. The end
Right.
goal was really what I wanted, to be held. You're kind to me when we make love,
Right.
whatever the case is. So my point is, there are some people who they may not be able to accept when you are good to them because it goes against how they've been wired. It goes
Right.
against their understanding. You say, well, yeah, but they should know better. They should know better. Wouldn't it be lovely if we all knew better? But this is wiring in the brain. This is messaging in the brain. This is writing the book with permanent marker. Now, are we this narrative? We can always adjust it and change it, add to it, strike a line. We can always adjust later. But
Right.
this is the narrative. So if you date someone who smokes weed and drinks alcohol as they're coping, and then you come in and say, listen, I can be that partner to where you don't have to use that to cope. If someone uses sex as coping, like they want to have sex a lot as a feel good, they don't even care about you. They just need the dopamine rush from the sex.
Right.
So you have to be mindful of these differences, and that really plays a role in how you connect, how long you stay connected, and um, are we truly compatible, or because you could do something for someone and they really, that's not what, and it scares them. That's when you hear people say, I don't know, it's not really you, it's me.
Mm.
I don't know how to accept all that. You coming over at 6 in the morning to help me, that's great. But you know what I grew up on? My caretaker, my provider, my nurturer doing for me and then neglecting me, abandoning me, and betraying me. So guess what? I'm actually suspicious of all your kindness. I'm
Right.
suspicious. And the world we live in is more and more and more about individual, not couples. Is more and more about I can do for myself. I could buy a toy, like a sex toy. I can do this. I can watch a hub. I can do for myself. Myself. The idea of family is being reduced. I'm not talking marriage, where the stats already show that marriage has been reduced. One side note, because the other day there was some conversations about marriage and stats. Again, I try not to toot my horn and da da da. Coach
Mhm.
K, I am considered a scholar. If you
Say
really
it.
want to get, if you really want to get
Let's
technical,
go.
if you want to get
Yeah.
technical, I am a scholar.
You've been published, right?
I've been published. I do research.
Right.
Research. I follow people for years to get the data. Okay. Now I'm not the brightest bulb in the pack. I have a lot of systems in place to help me with my learning. I have a lot of systems in place to help me. But I
Just
am
as other
considered
scholars.
technically a scholar. Let's
And an
just get that out there.
expert in the court of
No,
law.
right. I know, but you have some yahoos out there who
I
say
just want to add it.
expert my ass and da da da. And I don't well, I would say I don't run around using that, but I think in some of my marketing stuff, it does say relationship expert.
But
But
he
if
really
you
is.
know me, I don't run around expert this. In fact, sometimes my imposter syndrome, sometimes I'm like, I'm not an expert. I'm not. But when you've been doing it for 20, 30 years and you're published and you write about it and you continue to do research about it and you have all these other credentials behind your name, all because I didn't feel adequate. So there's a reason to it. But
Right.
my point is, all that to say, if
Right.
people want to give pushback, I'm all for it. But then let's do some research together. All right, that's my point. All right. So my whole point, what I was saying about these stats,
Yeah.
individualism is on the rise.
It is.
Family units is on the decline. If people want to do the research, let's do the research together.
Yeah.
Marriage is on the decline. But as a whole, so you have to look at the whole picture. The entire system, the entire unit of family, the institution, all of that is on the decline. So marriage itself is not on the decline. The entire, okay. So
Right.
if you put it that way, I don't need for you to do. I can parent on my own. And if you push the agenda, no, you need a man, no, you need a woman, no, you need a partner,
Mm-hmm.
you need me, we'll be good together. I have your back and we can support each other. Please note, if I'm one of the ones who already started, I started with, I really don't know if I should be in a committed relationship. You may have temporarily convinced me, you may have temporarily influenced me, but you have to be prepared that at the root for me is not about our partnership. It's about what you can do for me and what I'm willing to do for you. So anyway, that was long-winded again, but I hope that answered
Yeah,
your
no,
question.
that's the truth of it, and that's actually where all of this comes from. That is at the root of these conversations, speaking about individuals, and just some of the issues or problems or just what people are experiencing out there in their relationships. It's not as easy as she's doing this because she's a modern woman. It's like actually there's a lot more under the surface. Now that doesn't mean that what she's doing is right or that you should put up with it or stay with that person. No, but it's not as simple as telling someone um that what they're doing, this is what they're doing, and that's that, and they're just going to change. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. And it's like you said, changing is not going to, if this is what they know at the root.
Mhm.
I mean, just think about something that you've been doing or that you've learned to do. Like our brains are wired to be efficient that way. So that's something that we've done over and over, takes no time. We don't even have to think about it. It's subconscious,
Mhm.
which is good because let's say if a bear is coming, we know to run. Well, that's obviously, fear
Mhm.
and, survival instincts, but driving, we're like, oh, I don't remember, I don't remember driving here. It's like, yeah, but that's because your body knows how to do it. You've done it so many
Right.
times. It's like 2,000 hours, I think, where you pretty much can almost, my dad would always say practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. He would say it's perfect practice makes perfect, or at least good
Mhm.
practice makes
Mhm.
perfect. But
Mhm.
if you do things something over and over, so that's why change is going to be hard. Just telling someone something is not going to change them.
Right.
Um, but
But
also
wait,
too, go ahead.
that's what now you can tell me something, but if I'm committed to the commitment If I'm committed to the commitment of connection, relationship, then I can work on adjusting and I can work on sacrifice. So
Yes.
normally, if I'm by myself, I would not do this because I'm interested in the commitment and I'm going to commit to the commitment of our connection. Then I can work on sacrifice. It doesn't have to be overnight, but I can, and I'm willing to work on these sacrifices. I just need you to bear with me in that timeline of actually getting it down. Because how many people actually really run around wanting to perform oral sex? But then if you say, well, for you, I mean, you got to wash first. But for you, so for some that's a sacrifice, and for others that's a no-brainer. Let's go.
Right.
So there are some things that we can sacrifice for each other. A woman, female, sacrifices her body when she's given when she's given birth. In fact, she risked taking her last breath so her child can have their first.
Yeah.
There have been mothers to die on the delivery table. It's not like on TV where get a bucket of Crisco and some hot water and the kid is just born and everything is good. There are risks that come with it, and that's a sacrifice. And then who is that child? That is the offspring of the man. So it's his child, her sacrifice.
Right.
So there are things that we can, you can tell me, we know we both agree, or we agree to disagree, but we're in this together and we make it work. And then I have to watch out for the outside noise, the outside distractions, and the people who don't have what I have, but they're in my circle. And of course they're in your circle because we mold our inner circle to have the people who we can tolerate and accept and get along with. So of course they don't see it always as the same, and they think they're protecting us by saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be with her," and and you shouldn't be. You need to do. But that's because they don't have. But as long as you don't have and they don't have, notice how you get along swimmingly well.
Yeah, some females will say like they'll kind of hijack their relationship because they want when they started dating, that person, then they didn't get to go out anymore. They didn't get to hang out or whatever. So that it's like you're already kind of looking at this relationship as he's not that great or whatever.
Take Heat is in the house. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, good.
Take Heat's in the house. What's up, Sister Queen? Thank you for being here. Hello.
So, yeah, good to see you.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. We always want to shout out to our audience and those who are always with us and big supporters of the channel. I was thinking too, when you're willing to sacrifice, it's almost, and I think the generation, especially Z, but even millennials have, and this goes with the individuality thing, is the whole me, it's all about me. But when you are looking at your relationship and willing to sacrifice, it's like you're looking at something greater than yourself. It's bigger than you. It's because it's not just you in the relationship, it's both of you. And maybe you have children too. It's your family. It's not just about you. So it's like if you are looking at it in that way, you might be more willing to put forth or whatever to sacrifice. Because let's say there is something you need to work on and work to change, but that's not going to be comfortable for you. Again, the brain is wired that way, that it likes what it knows. It's familiar. So whenever we do something new, it's scary. Or whenever we're trying to pick up a new habit or change our lifestyle, it's uncomfortable. But that's because it's not efficient at it yet. And then over time, can anyone think of something that they are doing now that it's a good routine or something that they're proud of, that it's easy now? We don't even think about it. But was it easy at first? No, it wasn't. So it's like things like that we got to think about. So but are you ready to deal with that discomfort for the relationship? And also too, I would argue sometimes these changes, if you want to, Because let's say your spouse or whoever, significant other, wants you to text them every morning. I think we talked about this. Wasn't this with Alexis? I think they wanted her to text her or them or something. I think it was her.
Mm-hmm.
Now this isn't necessarily like change or sacrifice. Like we're talking, that's more like behavioral, I guess, maybe. But in terms of, are you, willing to do something that's going to be uncomfortable, that might change things a little bit for you, but let's not use that example, but you're going to be better for it.
Mm-hmm.
That might be more of an incentive for you to want to make that change. But the whole take me as I am, I don't roll with that. Now it depends what it is. But for the most part, from the context that I hear people say that, okay, that's your choice, but you know what I mean?
Right. Well, what bucket are they speaking from? When I say bucket, like category bucket. So a person who wants to be text every morning, a person who wants to receive a text every morning, where does that come from? Is that a communication hunger? Are they used to having long distance relationships? Are they used to having international relationships where,
right,
when you connect, but how can you connect? You have this technology. Because if you live together, would you not say good morning to each other always? If you live together, would you wake up? I mean, there are some couples who do that, but would you wake up and not talk to each other? We say, well, that's if you live together. We don't live together, so why do I have to text you? But if you have that mentality of,
right,
I want, so now I don't text every day. I do. Where's the compromise? And if it's something that I'm capable of doing and willing to do, because if I can text my mama every day, if I can text my homie every day, if I can do all the things at work 5 days a week, 6
right.
days a week, 3 days a week, but I can't or unwilling or it's too much to text my partner. So it depends on, the willingness and comfort. I heard Mrs. She said, and the world class noble say, you got to throw comfort out the window. That this is not about happiness. This is about a sacrifice. This is about a commitment. This is about negotiation. This is about bringing two independent lives together, molding them together as much as possible while still having some individualism left to you. This is about respecting your space, respecting our space. Even with the couples I work with, I say, well, you might want to create, like, for recreation or just to keep yourself sane, you might want to create 3 plans. Your plan that I'm part of, the we plan that we are part of, and the me plan. So we go to watch a basketball game and you say, well, I'm here with you. So that wasn't a we, that was, you are doing something for me.
Right.
When
Yeah.
I'm with you at the so-and-so is not something I really wanted to do or would have done if I wasn't in this relationship, but that's about you. You paint and I show up at your thing because I'm interested in you and what you do in your art and your life and da 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 da. But outside of this, I would not have done that.
Right.
So
Right.
this might be something that I'm investing in you, but I still might not think that you still might not think that I'm doing we things. You say, well, you said you wouldn't go to, you don't have to do that for me. You don't have to do that for me. But that is part of the sacrifice. The other day, and I don't know if you were tuned in, what show was it? I was listening to another channel and they were talking about if the woman gets sick, what is her duty to make sure her man still has love making?
Yeah, that is an interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if she's on her cycle. So you have some couples who say, I wait the cycle out. And then there are some couples that say, well, your mouth works, right?
Right.
Some couple depends on what you two create. But when you place it as an expectation, then I ask, well, is your partner comfortable with that expectation. Some people know my duty, my job, my willingness, my excitement, your pleasure is my pleasure, your success is my success. Again, how do you build the relationship? In order to stay resilient, it's going to involve changes. Life is fluid. I had hair, I don't have hair. And if you got with me talking about, oh, I just love your hair, I just love your hair, and I love your hair. Well, when it's gone, then what? I love your beauty and your beauty and the beauty. And if you smoke cigarettes and now all of a sudden you got them wrinkled lines and you got wrinkles all, what happened? What happens now? If I was with you for the sex, and if it's a man, and when his stuff doesn't work anymore and he can't order any pills or any whatever, now what? So when we talk about longevity or resiliency, I think is being able to deal with things in your relationship, and that requires work, that requires commitment, that requires understanding, support, patience, and having boundaries. Don't think just because I do some things I'm a total fucking idiot. I'm not here to be played. I need to feel
Right.
respected. Okay, so there's a difference between uh, committing, submitting, subjugating, being kind, and being a fool.
Right.
So that's when people start to, they start feeling played, they start feeling exhausted, they start feeling used. And that's when they
Right.
start looking for the exit plan. Or that's what we're doing. So if we're engaging in fuckery, I could fuck around too.
Right. And with what you just said too, before being a fool and things like that, um, when we're going through things like, you don't have hair anymore, or let's say a spouse gets cancer or something, or there's someone loses their job, and I think those are the times that you that's an opportunity to build resilience. But what are you anchored to? Because if you are anchored to this person looking a certain way the whole way through, or having a certain amount of money, really external things,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be an internal satisfaction that we get when they do something this way. But let's say they're sick, well, they can't do it anymore. If you're not anchored to that greater commitment, this is gonna fall apart. And I think, again, that's a lot of what is happening today in relationships and even outside of relationships. People this irritates me so bad. But people getting animals and giving them up because they just don't want them anymore. And it's like, that is some BS, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
you should have signed up for a forever plan with this animal or whatever. When things get hard, or even with jobs, people do this. Sometimes things get a little rough, whatever, so they're ready to leave, and it's like, well, what is the greater plan? What is the long-term purpose that you have in this relationship, in this place, with this pet, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't have that in mind, I think that's when you're going to make split second decisions that are going to affect your long term regardless, you
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm. With
so yeah, go
speaking
ahead.
of certain things, so for me, again, if I'm working with the couple or
Mhm.
helping them to get to the root or dissecting what some of the challenges are, also look at our understanding of these things.
Mm.
If what is your understanding or value for money? So even though we should sacrifice together, but if I'm making a certain amount of money and we're ripping through the money, you make a certain amount of money and we're ripping through the money, what's that about? And it is my understanding of the sacrifice. We might have the same understanding, but we execute it differently. But I didn't know if you get depressed or sad or low energy, your coping mechanism is shopping. But I didn't. I understood. I thought we were both on the same agreement about money, only to find out you also use that as a resource for when to cope. But I didn't know. Or vice versa. I'm buying my cars and stuff because I actually get aroused. Like I see a certain like Lamborghini, and then I'm in this arousal state of mindset over this car, and now I'm fixated because I didn't realize like I have OCD. Like compulsion. Like I have, like I won't let it go until. So now I'm making sacrifices because of the compulsion. I'm making
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices because of the way I lock on to things. And it may
Mm-hmm.
seem like I'm going against what I thought we agreed, but that might take work. You might catch me at a spot where I'm not recognizing that my issue with compulsiveness, impulsivity, have to have it right now. I have to have what I want, when I want it. And so you might be addressing the car thing. For real, we're doing another car, but really my issue is about impulsivity because I might not get the car, but then there's something else. There's always something.
Mm-hmm.
How many phones do you have?
Mm-hmm.
How many things why do you keep having? You need your nails done? Like I hear a lot of guys complain about why you need your hair done and nails done always.
Mm.
But if that's part of my beauty system, my belief, my value
Mm-hmm.
system, like I feel more
Right.
beautiful, then is the conversation really about the hair and the nails, or is it about um, what can we look at your value system and your whole idea about loving self, being beautiful? How do we do that together? Um, so one more thing about Uncle Rick. Ricky Williams, if you hear this, I hope you hear this. He was talking about, and I was clapping back. He said, "Every woman is a hoe. Every woman is a hoe," and I disagree. And I felt it was
Oh, interesting.
disrespectful. Uh, Women are whores, not hoes. They are whores. Now, reality is, we all are. A hoe is
For
a tool.
pleasure.
A hoe is a gardening tool. A whore does things for money.
Mm. Oh yeah, we're all.
I go to work. I'm a whore to my job.
Yep.
Now, because Ricky was saying, what he was saying is, well, try not to, don't get it all personal. Don't personal. It is what it is. You're a hoe. You're a hoe. And I get what he was saying. He was saying, like, don't get all caught up in the significance of the word. Same thing. Hoe is a tool, but whore, don't get caught up in the significance of it because technically, I'm a whore for shoes. I'm a whore for cars. I'm a whore for purses.
Pringles.
I'm a whore for relationships. I'm a whore for Pringles. Right? I'll do something strange for some change to get the Pringles.
Right.
But so anyway, with that being said, recognize what your partner is a whore for. But they need emotional stuff. They need extra this. They need. Do you know the needs of your partner? And does your partner know your needs? Do you know how to address your own needs? Because you're not
Ye-
responsible for doing all my stuff. But just knowing, I believe if you're preemptive, that stretches out the resiliency. Preemptive. So you've been on your menstrual for years. You know how to take care of your own self. Cool. But I believe I know that my partner, about a week before, she's not doing well fully, emotionally, psychologically. I know that every month. It doesn't take
Right.
a rocket scientist to know that I might need to be a little bit more supportive during that week. But people
Right.
forget. They get complacent. They get lazy. They don't give a damn. It's about me, and you should get it together. We all have it. Everyone has a period. You should know. No, if I know that, I'll put it in
Right.
your phone. You got the other shit in your phone. You know when so and so's coming. You know when that video game is coming out. You know when that movie's coming out. You know when a new pair of shoes is coming out. But you don't know when her cycle is, huh? And then now I'm used to not the new school, not the new Passport Brothers. I'm used to 10 years ago being in the Philippines. They buy, and in India they buy a napkin, toiletries the day of. Um, so then, her cycle hits and she's like, oh, I need to get to the store. And they buy a piece. They call it a piece. They buy, and shout out to my, because I'm a Filipino
Really?
fan.
You're
Yeah,
right. Right.
shout out to my Filipino fans. They usually come on the day after. They're a day ahead of us. They usually come on a day or
Right.
two after, and they listen throughout the week. And I'm slowing down in my speaking because they're like, "You're English, we can't."
Right,
But
right,
they
right.
buy a piece at a time. So a woman will go to the store, like a Super America or a Quick Stop, whatever, and buy a piece, a napkin, not too many tampons over there. And then they use that, or they might be a little package of like two. I'm like, isn't your period coming in a couple of weeks? Let's buy a bundle.
Right, right.
But now again, in our society, we're going to say this being a simp. And people get caught. See, that's that distraction. You mean taking care of my woman makes me a simp? That's that distraction. That's that bullshit that we subscribe to. No, we have our relationship agreement. Why am I, and so anyway, I learned we learn about what we whore for, what I whore
Right.
about, what you whore about, what I'm hungry for, whatever term you want to call it. We learn those things. And then we help do it in moderation. We help do it with control. Anyway, I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. And just to touch on, and then I want to ask you a question, but just to touch on the sim thing again, it's like if we're doing this for the person, our person, whatever title they have, we like them, right? I mean, not all the time. We love them, right? Whatever,
Well, and
whatever.
it depends on what love is. I might be in a
Yeah.
relationship because I need this type of partnership. I want this. Remember, if I come from a background where I feel I have to have someone to feel complete, if I have to have someone to feel safe, I might be with you and tolerate all kind of stuff that I really don't want to tolerate. But I feel like if I don't have you, it's really my mental health. But
Is
if I
that a
don't,
simp?
right? Yeah, I feel like I have to have you. So I'll
Mhm.
sacrifice all kind of stuff to keep you. Then there are other people who can do fine without a partner, but they do like having a relationship. They actually
Right.
entertain they love the idea of love, but
Mhm.
they much rather they care about the relationship, the connection. Because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, will you be there for me? If I go to the hospital right now, how many people could I actually call who could I actually put on my emergency contact list? And if I
Right.
go to jail, can I actually count on you? If I become ill, can I count on you? And if and a lot of us are raised to take care of a mama, to take care of a papa, maybe even a sibling if you're older. We are raised and conditioned to take care of someone else. As a kid, we're the human remote. Go get me that, go get this thing.
Mhm.
So I'm the human gopher. Go, 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 go. When I finally find my independence, it might be hard for me to want to do for you because I've been doing for others all my life. The
Right.
other person might be like, that's what I know. Let me do, let me do, let me do. And that's when we're telling our partners, you do too much. You are too busy. Sit down, get out the way. You're doing too much. So
Mhm.
there are those type of conflicts where we don't expect them, we don't see them. And then we find out later. So again, it's about adjusting. You do a lot and you're busy. But and if you don't let me take care of you, you must not love me. So I challenge, is it
Yeah.
love? But based on what is your definition of love? Is that if that's your definition of love, then it is. Is it because we like
Mhm.
each other? We can like each other and just have those moments. But here's my big question to your question.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And you're not supposed to answer a question with the question, but here's my big question in regards to your question.
Yeah.
What is the long-term goal? Because if our goal is to win a championship together, we might want to learn how to tolerate each other and like each other. If
Mm.
our goal is to push forward our legacy, we have to be mindful any self-hatred or any BS pours out into our legacy. It pours into, will breed mental health,
Mhm.
will breed chaos. And we can
Mhm.
breed love and all kind of things. Doesn't mean they're going to repeat it. But what we pour out, what we deposit in, what we deposit into the family, that's what we're going to have. And if I had some
Mhm.
bad experiences before, and now I just don't want to mess around. I don't want a relationship. I don't want a relationship. I don't want one. But I like the hell out of you. Like you make me laugh. You understand me. I can be vulnerable. But then let's commit. Ooh. So then it appears that I might not really love you because I didn't commit. That lack of commitment con- might be connected to my fear of trust issues, betrayal, blah 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 blah. So
Right.
love, yes. Like, yes. But at the same time, it may not be out of that type of love. My commitment to my religion, my God,
Mm.
says in that car accident situation,
Mm-hmm.
religion says, to death do us part through
Mm-hmm.
sickness and in health.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say happiness.
Right.
So if you're vomiting all over and pooping yourself, and am I there for you? I don't like the situation, but I love you. But I even love what God says even more,
Right.
or vice versa. I may
Right.
not be religious, but you know what? I feel heard with you. I feel I feel important when I'm with you. And if you're like, of course you're my king. Oh, oh, what? Say it again. What's up, king? Oh, I mean, it's like an orgasm. And yes, I perceive that I love the hell out of you. But again, I could take that same lack of or need for intimacy and be at a restaurant and the server gets my order perfect. Wow. Oh yeah, I wasn't leaving that kitchen until I know they made your meal right. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Right.
oh.
Right.
So I perceive that I'm in love with you because you met one of my needs. So I think that's where love comes from. Love, when it comes to a relationship, I think love really is about how much you meet my needs.
Mm.
And that's what really keeps the loving going. My security, my desires, my need for intimacy, my need for connection, my need for companionship. That's why sometimes you can even have best friends who, like, we love each other, not sexually.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. We have a connection like no other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where love plays a role.
Yeah. No, I like that. And that's a great, it adds a lot of insight into a word that we use so mindlessly sometimes in all these conversations. Now, I want to ask you. So, I was on a panel the other day, and um, it was brought up when we talked to Mr. Podcast about, with his lady. And it's not even about that. But and some people were asking in the chat too, like, they did mention a therapist. As I've stated many times, I am not a therapist. I am a coach. You, Dr. Nakumbe, are a therapist, psychologist, right? Would be the clinical term. Is
All of
that? Yeah, I know
them.
you. You
Well,
literally
yeah,
are. You,
because
yeah, right,
counselor, I mean, they all inter.
right,
I'm not a
right,
psychiatrist, though. That's the only thing. I'm not a
right. Can't
psychiatrist.
prescribe. Um, but also a coach. So I want to, I kind of shared my opinion on this question, but I also want to hear yours. Is it beneficial to tell a client or a patient, whether it's a couple or the patient by themselves, that they are wrong? Or to tell the couple, hey, this husband or boyfriend is saying this stuff about you, the woman. Hey, woman, you're wrong. Is that helpful?
Yeah,
And why do we or do we not say it? Well, as a coach, I would say we, but as a therapist, do you or do you not say it, and why?
there are some who won't say it because it's about safety. Is this client able to hear and manage and accept that they are wrong? What you're doing is probably not the best. What you're
Mhm,
doing is probably going to cause some, how do you feel about that? Why do you do that? Does that work for you? Got it. Because if it's working for that person and I tell them that they're wrong, says who? Based on whose rule? Whose rule is it wrong? Whose truth is it? Because even if I'm saying, "Oh, I'm a truth doctor, truth coach, truth," who's truth? Who's normal? Who's normal? Everyone's normal is different. We have perceived normal. And well, who's society? We have society rules. So we have to go by their rules. And we also have laws. We have government laws, society rules. So when it comes to the word wrong, I look at words like hurtful. That particular act or behavior might be causing your relationship some additional stress.
Mm-hmm.
Your perception or your perspective, I don't know if it's, I don't know how well it's working in your relationship.
Like
No,
serving you. I like
but
saying that a
how
lot.
well it's serving you. Yes.
Right.
Well, this is what I know. This is what I do. Cool. But is it working? How's that working for you? Now, the work that I do, because we get at the root cause, and we deal with truths. In fact, that's why I don't want to be known as the love doctor. Like my marketing campaign, they had all these hearts and all this, and I was like, I am not the love. In fact, uh, I will support you through a breakup. Now, divorce, that's a different story. I'll send you to a divorce therapist or counselor, marriage counselor. And
Right.
if divorce is what you want to do, but you want to stay friends or whatever, then I'll work with you to figure out how do we, okay, discernment. How do we do that?
Right.
But when it comes to right or wrong, I also let people know you might not be understanding. And because of your understanding, you are actually wrong in that situation. The way
Mm-hmm.
you understand it is not where we're going with it. So you
Mm-hmm.
are actually wrong in that. So to give you an example, if actually you give me an example. You give me an example if you have one of where someone might have questioned if they're right or wrong.
Yeah, and I do want to add too, um, eh, to add this additional layer. Why would someone want their spouse or their significant other to be told that they're wrong? Just to kind of bring some type of, and this isn't for sure their reason, but could be the, what's the word I'm looking for, their intention for why, and they may not even know it, but why they may want that. But let's say there's a fight and a the person, let's say the man is mad at the woman because she was, let's say, talking to she was on a panel with a bunch of guys, I don't know, let's say, um and she didn't see like any issue with that, for example, and he was upset, and then it turned into a fight. Let's say that's the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And who believes who is wrong? But who's
he
wrong in
be- he believes that she's wrong and she doesn't. So he believes
so
that
believe she's
the
wrong for
therapist
being
should
on the
tell
panel?
her. He's he's what?
She's wrong for being on that panel with all the men?
Right, and not seeing that's the issue. Because let's say it turned into a blow up after, but that was like what caused it. Yeah, she
Mhm.
doesn't see an issue with it, and that was what caused the fight, for example.
Mhm. So considering the buckets or categories, like where is this wrong coming from? If it's rooted in jealousy, inadequacy, worry, paranoid, jealousy, and all those things, then my partner is wrong because they know I'm a jealous type person. They know I feel insecure. They know that I'm weak. They know that I have some broken tendencies. They know all these different things these characteristics that I have. You know this as my partner. So for you to be on a panel with a bunch of men, knowing about my insecurities, knowing about my past, knowing I was cheated on before, knowing all these different things, knowing, then you are wrong to engage in that behavior. It must be intentional. And if it's intentional,
Mm,
then it's intentional disrespect. And if you didn't know, then fine, you didn't know this time. First time's an incident, second time's a coincidence, third time's a pattern. You are wrong. And if you don't care, well, this is what I do. then you are no longer wrong. You are right for doing what you want to do. You're just not right for me.
So you're saying this is what the man might be perceiving
If
about
if
her
if it's
if he
coming
wants
from
her
the
to be
bucket,
wrong.
if it's coming
Mm,
from the bucket of or the category, if the person doesn't suffer from inadequacies, here's an example.
mhm.
Was it Friday? We just Black Man Unfiltered just had a show. Was it his show or somebody just had a
I know
show where
there's
the
some
lady is
recent
doing
ones.
on she's on OnlyFans and her husband's the basketball player and is on
Mm.
social media. She's actually recording. She's doing like a Jada. She's recording the conversation. She's recording. And
Oh.
he's like, I just found out you're on OnlyFans. And she's like, and
Mm,
yeah, my
mm,
wife. So through his lens, is not about so the bucket I just mentioned, the category a second ago, I'm saying if the person deals with jealousy, coach, you know how I am. I don't like you. I don't like a bunch of dudes. That's jealousy. What if it's coming from a caring bucket? At least through
mhm.
my lens is caring. Coach, they be having you giggle and shit. Do you even see what the dude put up there?
Right.
Smile if you want to suck on my and you just come
Right.
on, I can't have no dudes doing that. So
Right.
one category of bucket was jealousy. The other one was I don't like my woman being disrespected, and now I have to fight for this. Like I have to, and you're not helping. So that's a
Right.
totally different category. So then I'm going to say you're wrong to put us in this position, or you are wrong because you know about my jealousy. Now let's go to a totally different bucket. I felt it was disrespectful to our relationship. And so when I met you, I knew you would dance. I met you as a dancer. Okay, so I knew your body was out there, but I thought, and especially since you stopped, and I assumed and thought, hoped and expected. It might have been my downfall right there. But I
Right.
hoped, thought, and expected you stopped. Then you didn't communicate with me. I thought, hoped, and expected that our relationship was about communication. And if you decided to do OnlyFans, you would have mentioned it at least. Hey, just so you know, I got my channel in case you want to check it out. Hey, just
Right.
you're cool with because the impact of my behavior goes beyond me and it impacts you. It goes beyond what we are doing. The impact of my behavior goes into the community. Are you
Right.
ready for that? Are you prepared for that? Do you mind if I do that? So I don't need your permission as an adult. But when we start talking about commitment levels, marriage, and then when we start talking about how we want to be seen in the community, heck, on one hand, we talk about we don't even fight in public. We don't want people looking at us. We don't even fight in public, but yet I'm nude. So I think the conversation, minimally, we didn't have. You were wrong for not engaging me in that conversation because it went against our agreement of sharing and communicating. That was the agreement. So you're not wrong in the behavior, but I would say you broke the agreement. So I was
Right.
online, there's a bunch of dudes, they're not touching me. We're just laughing
Right.
and talking. But again, that's why I say that might be more about jealousy. That if you can't handle your woman being on, and I don't want to judge, but if you can't, there's a reason behind it. What's the reason behind it? There's a reason behind it.
Right. And are
And so
we just gonna say
right,
she's wrong, but we
right,
don't even know the reason for it, but you're just so certain that she's wrong, she shouldn't do
right.
this.
Not right. But if forever she's not done it, damn
Right.
if I'm jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. But we have an agreement. And
Mhm.
then if you felt that I did something to you, so now
Ooh,
out of
yeah,
spite, now you're going to do something that was wrong. Two
yeah, that's
wrongs don't
ugly,
make it
yeah.
right. So that was out of retaliation. That's that
Mhm.
bucket. So category or bucket, whichever you want to call it. It has nothing to do with me
Mhm.
being jealous. Has nothing to do with me being a control freak. Nothing. It is common sense. It has been a norm in our relationship, and now you went outside of the norm, and you did it out of spite. That's wrongful behavior. That's wrongful intentions. And I would tell
Mm-hmm.
a couple, if I'm working with them, well, so you broke the norm, you went outside of the norm. What does that mean? Where did that come from? Why did you do that? Would you consider that to be
Right.
righteous behavior? No, I mean I knew I was wrong, but fuck him. Okay, I knew I knew I was wrong, but wait. Before we get to the but, so you admit that wasn't the best thing to do? Of course. I mean, I didn't really want to be up there anyway, but got it. So, sir, you hear that she's owning it wasn't the best decision. It wasn't the right
Right.
thing to do. But for her, she felt it was right in order to pay back, feel equal, whatever. So it was not
Mm-hmm.
the right thing to do, but she felt it was right for her in order to get the end result of, yeah, how's that make you feel?
Right.
Or I
Right.
like the attention. These were just some guys we were up there BSing and I like the attention. I wanted it. And so, okay, sorry that you felt that I was wrong. But before we get up here and start calling each other's wrongs out, let's look at, again, where is that coming from? I like the attention and I feel neglected by you. So then I would say they're both wrong, but not wrong people, bad people. They're both wrong in the fact that the way you've been going about giving each other attention has led to this behavior. Was that the
Right.
right way to do it? Probably not. I could do better. Okay. Or, yeah, that's the way I do it. And I listen a lot on the YouTube streets or the social media where the guy's like, she better, she need to have, she will do. And if that's the committed relationship you are in, there are power dynamic relationships. There are dominant, submissive relationships. There are 50-50 relationships. There's all kind of combinations. If you go outside of that combination intentionally, I consider that a wrongful intentional act. If you do it
Right.
innocently, meaning I wasn't trying to do that, but I was trying to do this, okay, do you see how you might have felt right in your actions, but it led to X, Y, and Z? Anyway, that's
Right.
that's my answer. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think having the conversation about, all right, what actually happened there is more fruitful. Now, of course, we're basically saying, yeah, you were kind of wrong in this situation, but if there's more to it than just saying you're wrong, that's it. We can go home now. It's like, no, like what are you trying to gain from that? And I don't think that's
Right.
helpful. It's like we're against each other,
Was it public? Was that comment public?
That they were wrong.
Yeah.
It would be in the
Or in a
therapy
session?
session. Yeah, in a
Okay.
session.
Well, yeah, but see, understand if the therapist doesn't have all the details,
Right.
they they might know how they were wrong in the story. So I could see where a client would say that, like, no, you were wrong. It's not, we don't even need to talk about it. You are wrong. And then as a therapist, I'm wondering, like, whoa, how do you just say that? Like, why would you just say that? But they may have more facts, or they may have. So then it's really about exploring more to get a better understanding of why they're saying this person is wrong.
Right, which I think
Mhm,
is totally good. I was
mhm,
saying in this conversation, I don't think it's helpful, but we are going to explore all of that. And I said, I never tell my client you're wrong, but I show them what their behavior caused, the outcomes of that. And
mhm,
usually it's kind of like, as coaches, we hold a mirror up and then
mhm,
kind of they see what they're doing
mhm.
somewhat. And then it's for them to decide. But it's not really effective to just say, you are wrong in that. You shouldn't have said that. How do I know they shouldn't have said it? They said it. How do I know?
True,
Now,
but
there is
but agreement.
morality and things like that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but do you know the full? Does the professional in that situation or the third person, do they know the full agreement? Because sometimes we come back and say, "Oh, you didn't tell me that part." Whoa! You guys didn't tell me. Now, see, you're being tricky. Now I see why. So on the front
Right.
end, I don't say, if the person says no, you were wrong. Oh, well, why do you say that? I mean, I hear you, but before I join with you before I bond. And they're like, tell me
Mhm.
more about what made it wrong. What made it wrong? She knew better. We'll talk about it later. Whoa, don't leave me in the dark. Like,
Right.
what? Like, how?
You
No,
got to give me
because
more.
yeah. Well, no, because then they're gonna flip it and they're gonna. And so, a quick shout out, Mr. Bennett. Absolutely an honor to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Actually, I
Hey,
saw you the
Mr.
other day on one
Bennett.
of the panels, but good to see you, sir. Thank you for being here. Thanks for swinging through.
Yeah.
So again, in a session, if someone says someone is flat out wrong, I want to explore why they're saying that. And once I hear the agreement, because again, one person's wrong might be another person's right. Then it's about reframing. It's about looking at additional perspectives because it may not be
Mhm.
really wrong, but that might be their use of language. You're wrong, only to find out later what they meant to say or what they should have said or wanted to say was, I didn't like what you did. I thought it was intentional. I didn't even know you were thinking that way.
Right.
Or, yeah, it was spiteful. And I
Right.
think spiteful type behavior is inappropriate or it's
Right.
wrong. And so, if I heard that a therapist or a coach or a professional said that person is flat out wrong in the session, I would challenge that person to say, well, I'm just curious, what part of it was wrong? Well, I just didn't like what
Right.
they did or what they said. Oh,
Mm,
you didn't like it. Got it.
that yeah, that
Mhm.
and again, just from my practice and my training, things like that, I do not this I don't bring my opinion into it. It's obviously all right, what are the outcomes?
Right.
But and also what do they want? What have they told me they want and what are they doing and do these align? But also I was thinking too, you know, it's interesting that in America we have all different types of cultures, not only just, within the generations, people don't court anymore, for example. Just things change. And then you add on different cultures, different religions, things like that. But yet, we almost, as a society, we approach relationships as this is just what we do. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Now, maybe somewhere like in, let's say, the heart of India, for example, they probably can expect this is what you do, but and that's just an assumption. Someone could correct me, but y'all know what I mean. But here in the West, or we'll just say America, because that's where you and I are, we approach relationships as this is just what you do. When could we all agree on that? I don't think so. And it's like,
Right.
no wonder we have conflict. Like, oh, they should
Right.
just read my mind or they should just know. And it's like, they should. How do you know? And then it creates a
Yeah.
breakdown. But I just wanted to offer that.
Yeah. And that, again, that's what Uncle Rick or Ricky Williams was talking about the other day. We're in this world where you just have to accept this is what I do. How could this is what I know? That's all I know. How can I do if I don't know any better? Well, you do know better. You choose not to do better, but you know better. You know better. Is what this is who I am, accept it as is. Then why be in a relationship? Now, I could find a partner who's willing to accept me 100% for who I am, and that's the dynamic that we choose. But if I'm looking for a collaboration, then there's some give and take on both sides. Again, back to that texting thing. Hey, I would like daily communication. We live in a society where there shouldn't be any reason. The same way you could talk to your homie, you could stay up and talk to your girls. You could be up to 3 in the morning checking it. The same way you can do that, I want. But that's a collaborative thing where okay, your style and my style. Let's see how we can. But if it's 100%, this is who I am. Just take it as I am. Then that's not about a relationship with two people. That's not very relational. But you can have a relationship with yourself. You can be relational with yourself, but then that's with yourself. Once you join a relationship with one other person or 10 other people, once you join, you are joining characteristics, energy, spiritual, you name it, you are joining for it to fit. How do we
Right.
join? How do we join? Or really, we're just like this. Well, maybe we
Right.
need a poly relationship. There's poly solo. So I'm actually single or solo, but I'm in multiple relationships. I'm polyamorous. but solo, so not
Mm,
committed to any one person. Okay, then go into the
this
relationship
sounds
saying,
single.
yeah, go. Yeah, it sounds single, but I'm in this. I think people who
Interesting.
have more than one job is poly solo. So yeah, work at Burger King and you work at Super America. You don't really, you can always quit. You can always quit, but in the meantime, it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you're
but
committed to that person, but not all the
right,
time.
not all the
That's
time. I go home.
interesting.
Here's my schedule. Peace. Next. So,
Gosh, I want to be monogamous, but
but we
yeah,
go
or whatever.
into the relationship with the agreement, not none of this. Hey, I thought you knew. You should have known. I told you I don't get down with that. Oh, okay. Then what are we doing? So we've become
Mm-hmm.
more and more individualized, more and more about it is what it is. Then that's not a commitment to the relationship, because a single person, single relationship, relational with self, it is what it is. Together, this is what it will be. Together, this is what it will be. And now, together, this is what it is as we go together.
Right. That's good. That's interesting though about the poly solo. But yeah, I think we should end with that. What do you think?
You bet.
Because
You
I
bet.
know we are reaching our time. Final
I love the
thoughts, I
questions in
guess.
the show. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
awesome conversation. And for those who were listening on the replay, please ask any questions that you may not have been here to ask. Put it on the board or the wall. Um, just
Mm-hmm.
just consider. My final thought would be for the resiliency. Learn compromise. Learn compromise. That's huge. Learn to negotiate. Learn to negotiate and compromise. Everything can't be about you. In the long run, there might be some benefits for you, but if it's really all about you, you need to think about that. You need to really think about what type of relationship you're going to have and how it's going to work. There are agreements or dynamics that you get to create. You can create a relationship that's about you, but you agreed together to make it about you. Without that agreement or conversation or understanding, so people don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. It's just we just know. We know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without that
Mm-hmm.
understanding, no. And people go into things with a certain type of desire, like because of your status. But what type of relationship is that? TD Jakes and a few others talk about, do you have a companion or do you have a constituent? Someone who's only with you as long as you have the status, as long as you have the
Mm,
money, as long as you're paying their rent, as long as you say, show me your titties and I'll do this for you and I'll do that for you. And they're, oh yeah, that's nothing. I can show you some boobies. But then they really expect and want. So they don't want a relationship. They just want an exchange of whatever.
right.
Or do you have a comrade, someone who's willing to fight for you? And when you fight for someone, that feels good. Ooh, I have someone
Mm-hmm.
who's willing to fight for me. Oh, it feels like a companion. The comrade will whip you. They will throw your vulnerabilities right back in your face. They are bred to fight. And
Right.
so, yeah, they seem supportive today, but those are the same people who throw your vulnerabilities back in your face. Know what type of relationship that you have. If you already know someone who can't just be with one person, like they can't focus on just one, then know that you might face some type of where it seems like they're doing extra. So, anyway,
Right.
compromise, negotiate, understand, ask questions. If you're going to take the lead, make sure you have someone who's willing to follow. And just because they follow does not mean that they are weak. It takes strength in order to follow, it takes strength in order to be submissive. So don't get it
Mm-hmm.
twisted, don't get it confused. Don't get it confused. And so I'll end with that.
Ooh, that is good.
And
That is good.
yeah, so
That submission word, I don't really want to add much more to it besides resilience is a good thing. And obviously you have to build it. It is not just given to your relationship. You are not just strong and bouncing back without some hardship. and life is going to give that to you no matter what. We all go through it. And when you kind of accept that and expect those things to happen, you can make it. We've talked about, Dr. Nakumbe, you've said this many times, you have a plan for when those things happen. But also, too, even though the initial experience is negative, the response doesn't have to be. And also, not initially, well, initially it might be, but the more you work through it, it can be a positive outcome and something that you two can build upon and be stronger than ever on the other side. But I think relationships, we talked about a lot of great just stuff about relationships and how to go about it, or helpful tips, I guess, and perspectives that we offered. So definitely catch this replay. It was about resilience, but also just relationships and strong ones, and asking some good questions. But yes, please, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comment section. And I think that's it. Don't forget to like, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell so that you know when we are streaming. And tomorrow, Barbershop Talk.
Friday. Oh, tomorrow, Friday. Yeah,
I know. What day is it?
Yes. And actually, at the end of this, the outro, they'll show the different shows. Wednesday, Mandrell and Shushu. Monday, there's something I forget. I apologize. I forgot the exact order because I can't think of her name. Sister
Miss Jenny,
I believe, on Monday.
Yeah.
And then we had, I think, Snowman or Angry Snowman or something, and
Illuminated.
Brother Illuminated.
Yeah, I love it.
And then Tuesday is Talk Tuesday. So be here for that, and check us out. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Enjoyed the conversation. Always an honor to share in the space with you. BMU, thank you. Shout out to you, and CBN, thank you, and continued prayers and peaceful grieving for you. And Alexis for Texas, if you were in the background, as back in the helping with the controls, thank you as well. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye, guys.